One very useful feature that InDesign has that not a lot of people realize is even there is the ability to give you a word count for any story. To get the word count, you need to select it and then open up the Info panel. Window, Info, or just press F8. Now, if you've selected a frame with the Selection tool, the Info panel will just give you information about the frame itself, where its upper left-hand corner is, what its width and its height is. But if you switch to the Type tool, here I just double-click to switch to the Type tool, then the Info panel switches to show you information about the content of this text frame. In other words, it gives you a count of its characters, 605, count of its words, 96, 16 lines, and it's 1 paragraph long. Now, the words are literal words. You might be wondering what counts as a word. Well, if I just added the word the, for example, T-H-E, now there's 97 words. If I added the word fantastic, now there's 98 words. So it makes no difference according to the length, in case you're wondering. A permutation on this is in case you have an overset frame. So here, this frame is overset. So let's switch to normal mode so we can actually see the frame. There we go. There's a little overset marker. Now when we click inside this frame, it shows us little plus symbols. And the plus symbols indicate how many words it's overset, or how many characters, how many words. It can't tell you how many lines it's overset because it doesn't know, like, if this is going to be threaded to a frame that's really wide or not, then it might just be one line. And if you indeed selected this frame and then went to Edit in Story Editor, you could see the overset text right after the word nurturing here. The word count and character count works in both Story Editor and in the normal layout mode. And also notice that if you make a selection, then it changes to a word count and a character count of the selection, which could be quite useful if you're trying to figure out how do I actually delete 8 words because it's overset 8 words, or 45 characters would be more accurate. Then you could try making selections to see if it's the same number of characters. Is that 45 characters? No, it's only 18, and so on. I think that's pretty useful. I use it when I have an overset frame and I don't know if it's 1 character or if it's, 500 characters. I usually keep the Info panel part of my custom workspace and I pop it out and just take a peek really quick. And one thing that InDesign cannot do is give you a word count for the entire document. So this is a catalog that has a bunch of different stories and a bunch of different captions and a big table in the back. And I've often been asked, how do I get a word count for the entire document, including everything that I see, if I'm trying to gauge how many words a writer will have to write to fill this document? For that, you need to turn to a script. And I have a couple scripts available for you. They're free, and you can download them from the InDesign Secrets website. I'll show you the URLs in a second. I'm going to go down to Utilities and choose Scripts. And these scripts should work in any recent version of InDesign, CS4 or later, I would guess. I have put them in a folder in My Scripts. One of them is a very simple one that I grabbed from some forum post a number of years ago. It's like 4 lines in the script. They're JSX, they're JavaScript scripts, by the way, so they'll work in Mac and PC. And I double-click this guy, and it says I have 2,348 words in this document. And that's it. If you want to check its veracity, let's add another word. That's 2348, right? So let's click maybe here. And is a new great course. And then we'll run it again. 2349. There you go. The only problem, though, with this very simple script is that it does not count words in footnotes, nor does it count words in a table. So if I added a footnote, say, to here, I'll go ahead and choose Insert Footnote. Here is a wonderful footnote, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words long, right? And then we say Count JS Text, still says 2349, not changed from before. So I asked my friend Marian Tompa if he could whip up a script for me to use in this video, and he did, and it's called Count All Text. You don't need to select anything, just double-click. Look at this. There's 2,349 words in the document. Number 1 counts as a word, I guess, in the footnotes. Silly me. And it counted the words in the table. So remember that table at the very end? There are 261 words in this table, and for a total of 2,616. So that's called countalltext.jsx. Now, you can't just make a selection of like 2 or 3 stories and run it. It always does the entire document. If you need to get a word count of a single story, you have to use the info panel. Where do you get these wonderful scripts? Go to InDesignSecrets.com, downloads, and then just enter the exact name for the script with the .zip instead of .jsx. So count text.zip, hit return, it'll download that little file, unzip it, decompress it, it'll say count-text.jsx, put that in your scripts folder and you're good to go. And the other one was, very simply, count alltext.zip. They're both available on our site for free. And thank you, Marianne, for helping us out with this really cool word count script.